This is the Anvil Spartan at IAE 2951. Here is the staircases that don't work. You can rent the ships, just like vehicles and ships, just like anything else. Which is pretty cool. A few things about the Anvil Spartan is that it is able to seat 8. That's what they say on the sticker. And then there's one driver in the front. One of the other things I like about this vehicle is that the modules are realized. You can clearly see this is a very modern design. It's based on the Ballista, but you can clearly see it's a very modern design. You know, it's thought from the ground up to be the correct design. You can see it has its own storage. It says infinite SCU. So let's take a look for the Anvil Spartan specifically. It's saying it has like 1,000 micro SCU on board, compared to my vest having only 8K. So, yeah, it's got a lot of storage space for a vehicle. And we're talking about, of course, like, I mean, when you compare it to armors, weapons, ammunition, maybe mining equipment, and utility gear like that, and healing tools, you know, there's a lot of neat stuff you can do. I like the big buttons. I like that it has the modern style with the lighting and such. Notice the open button closes it, but that's fine. Honestly, if that's the biggest thing I can pick apart, we're doing okay. I don't know. Are these doors might be... Nope, they're not locked shut. I mean, they're not locked open. Let's see if it quiets this room down a little bit. Yep, somehow the room's music is penetrated the thick armor and shields of this ship vehicle. Now, I'm curious about his lighting wise. So like you can see there's like little task lights near the door. They would help you be able to see how to get in. Nice red lights on the floor, such. There's some locking mechanism. To be honest with you, I don't know what the status buttons do. Pretty cool though. So when you rent stuff at IAEs, it is currently a 48-hour rental, and you can take it out and do whatever you want with it. Blow it up, lose it, test it, actually make some money with it. And this is a live server, so that money you keep until the next persistent wipe, which is probably another year from now or more. So something to bear in mind. You can see some nice little cargo rack back here. I incorrectly guessed that there would be some type of suit capabilities. I was hoping, I'll be honest, I was hoping there would be. They kind of hinted, though, that the extra versatility that this vehicle has is in its 8 seats plus people standing or sitting or laying down or whatever they have to do to survive in you know, trying to escape or invade an area or something. And finally, in the rooftop, one of the things that they heavily mentioned, aside from the 3 doors, which is nice for a spawn point, I'm sorry, not a spawn point, but a vehicle designed to fight and have multiple troops maybe coming out from different locations, because it's very hard. It's such a huge vehicle, and it's a high-speed, low-drag vehicle. I can cover maybe 2 of these doors. It would be extremely hard if I'm close up trying to hide from that gun up there. Trying to hide from that dual turret up close. And still not be visible to... still keep an eye on every one of these doors. So if I was inside this vehicle and say somehow an enemy managed to disable it, took out a couple of these tires, and it was dead in the water, the best thing you can do is open all 3 doors at the same moment, and 2 people at the very least at each door store them out at the same time. Anyway, the turret up there is a dual cannon. It's the one off the Ballista. This is the same platform, the Atlas platform. And then on the back of it, instead of having that Ballista mount, it has additional shields. John Crew claims it has better armor than the Ballista. Much better armor, I think, if he said it, if I remember correctly. Let's see if a taskbed character model can get us up there. And you can see on the roof that there is this might be rule of cool, but you can see there's a nice little scanning disc, and then also some antennas. Now, one of the things that the team that was introducing this week on Star Citizen Live mentioned was there's a nice angle on that cannon. I can't stress enough how much that remote cannon really adds to this ship. One of the things that they mentioned that I really like is that they said, look, you can climb this ladder in the future, and then you can literally just, which is on both sides, and you can just sit on top and hope for the best, so you have extra space. But obviously you would have to worry about your own cannon making that a very dangerous proposition. You'd have to be truly desperate to do that, or really living on the edge of real space. Because if that cannon accidentally or purposely spun around, everybody on top could be taken down within a millisecond. Those are big old size 2s. So that is one thing to bear in mind with this ship. It is very easy to screw up. I think that anybody on this ship, the vehicle, would have to make a decision to keep the cannon forward and to the sides, and just basically, this area back here is a dead zone. We don't shoot the cannon back here. For starters, the angle of attack is poor. You can see the scalping on the sides to kind of give it some. You can see it like on the sides up there, that allows it to have a better angle on like the side backs, but not dead center back. So where that like radar dish is forward is a very poor spot for the cannon to work up close anyway. So it would be kind of a poor excuse to not just do that, and then you could have extra stuff. Maybe not even people. I would shove stuff up there, to be totally honest, too. Or just somebody you really don't care about. So that's pretty cool. I like the visibility in the cockpit. I will be doing some actual testing of this ship. Take it in a ship and take this vehicle and place it in there. But let's just take a quick peek from the showroom floor and see. The visibility actually is mediocre. Sorry. It is. Wow. I did not realize that the way the armor is situated, really changes that a little bit on us, doesn't it? And there's the remote turret. Obviously you can't shoot it, but that's how it looks from up here. It doesn't even let me move it. Probably for good reason. But that's kind of where we're at. Let's get out of this thing. And move on. So I wanted to go into the hologram room, which I believe this is, and talk a little bit about the Liberator. So this ship, I have taken not real heat, I would say, but I've taken a little bit of a lively discussion from people saying, why do you call this thing a quasi-cap? Why do you even have it discussed in the same sentence as a cap? And I think right here, as a transporter, same quantum drive and long-distance capability as mil-spec carriers and pathfinders, etc. That's doublespeak. It is a very powerful logistics vessel. If we look at this Liberator and we think of what it is, and boy is it something, I can't help but see the future for a lot of people. I've explained this before, that not everybody has the budget or desire to have a capital. And to me, the capital is, for a lot of people, just a gate. It's your hunting license. It's your you have to have it just because you need the ability to move you and your org mates' things and your friends. And this ship having so much abilities to move so much at the same time of vehicles, cargo, and ships, and allow those ships to help defend the dang its ship. It's not going to be something where the small ships are literally bolted down to the ground and they can't, you know, they're trapped inside a cargo container while the ship gets attacked by pirates. No, those ships on the top pads, at the very least, and the front pad, those can take off and help. It has a turret, although the turret isn't in this hologram for some reason, and the PDSs are not in this hologram for some reason, at least from this angle. And I would say that the Liberator is a quasi-capital in the truest sense of the term. If you think of just the logistics capabilities. And I say that even with its auxiliary fuel tanks taken away. Yes, by the way, these are just for show. That's what the Q&A said anyway, unless they change their mind again. And I look at its rear ramp. This whole thing folds out. And I look at its forward ramp. And I see potential. That's honestly what I see. This entire front folds down. This folds down. And it's a roll-on, roll-off concept. This is an incredible ship. And when they talked about the Atlas platform as part of the Liberator, I don't think it's a coincidence that the Ballista and the Spartan are sitting in the other room. Because this ship can fit at least 2 of them in that bottom floor. At least. And if you've got more courage, I honestly, unofficially think you could fit 2, at least 1 more, maybe even 4, depending on what we looked at. I've seen some crazy renderings, and they're not even by like a millimeter. They're a reasonable amount of space inside that vessel that you can fit ships, even small ships, but mainly we're talking about vehicles at the moment. So I would say that while my screen right now looks like a Beat Saber level, I would say that the Liberator is something not to count out. Now, if you're already somebody who has an Idris or a Kraken or something, there are many, 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 many reasons. And I will be going into those in future videos. But to keep those. But just in pure logistics, pure carrying stuff from point A to point B, and maybe doing some light FOB support and warm fire-based support on the way, doing some mining operations if you don't have a large cap, this thing is seriously something to consider. And I think the Liberator is something that is vastly underpowered. Thought to be underpowered, but it is not. It is not in any way, shape, or form. It's heavily armored, medium and heavy armor mix. It has a reasonable amount of defensive capabilities as long as those ships on top are combat capable and they have pilots. So that's where I'm at. But I mean, it can fit at least 2 of these or 2 of those Ballista. And the Ballista is an old tried and true vehicle. What I can do is rent both. I'm gonna rent the Ballista as well. But yeah, I mean, this is some serious hardware. And I would say that with outposts coming, I would say that having the ability to move these type of vehicles around. And by the way, the Spartan advertising keeps talking about how it can get underneath anti-air defenses and it can defeat anti-air defenses by just going past them or something. That may be true, but some of the anti-air defenses are Spartans as well because they're Atlas platform. So what happens when a Ballista shows up? This thing is not going to be easy to defeat by even 8 men and a Spartan. I'm very curious to see how that's going to work. And I want to test if these weapons on the back are physically incapable of shooting the Spartan. Because this vehicle may be a funny anti-Spartan weapon. Yes, I know the Nova tank is supposed to be the real one, or maybe all 8 guys with rail guns. They get really lucky and whatever else. But I think they're going to take some losses. Unless they find the thing out in the open like a mile away or something. But anyway, I don't know. I guess we'll have to test that and we'll have to find out. And that makes this fun. Jax McCleary's video today actually hit me in the feels a little bit. I would say that they really stepped up their game with Jax. I was kind of like feeling how he did that amazing little bit, and then it's revealed that it's just like his old bit for the Ballista, and he's having trouble trying to decide, you know, how do I get past this? Am I a has-been? Am I past my best days? You know, that kind of thing. It totally took me off guard. I did not think they were going to try to develop Jax's character so deeply and introduce new side characters and really flesh out Jimmy a little bit. It's like his moral compass and support. So I think they did a great job. But his showing of the Spartan did not have it fighting against a Ballista, and clearly it was like they were purposely losing on purpose. It felt like to guarantee that the showrunner and his executives were still alive when they were done. Didn't have to do any regeneration. So that's some thoughts. Ooh, here's a hawk. I'm gonna rent one of those too. Today there is quite a few different sales, and also don't forget about the CCUs. On that Spartan, they have a CCU. As I understand it, the war bond variant's like 15 USD less. So upgrading from an ROC, for example, ends up, I think, being a $10 upgrade on war bond. It is a $10 USD war bond upgrade. So if you're thinking about the Spartan, that would be a great way to kind of hedge your bets. You could get an ROC, and then when you decide to upgrade to the Spartan, you can grab that. And then if you decide to upgrade to something else, well, you're still ahead, because you made a bunch of money with the ROC. And in theory, you made some money with the Spartan too. The Spartan can hold a lot of stuff. So I would that's kind of how I would use a Spartan currently. I mean, we're not invading Outpost anytime soon. So one of the best ways to use the Spartan in my eyes is exploration. Mining opportunities, supporting mining opportunities, and kind of just shoving it full of cargo would be at least something it can do really, really interestingly well. And it can defend itself. It's got more armor, more capabilities. Hopefully those scanners really come into their own. Super. Oh, it's a gladiator. Oh my god. You didn't hear that. Oh god, you did. I digress. Sorry, I got done working 12 hours today, and it's a very busy shift, so I'm a little loopy. I've been begging for these for the longest time. On Divisions, we've been just thinking about like how amazing it would be if we had these carts, or even just a cart, like the player style ones with just lights being bolted to them. I would, CIG, make a content creators pack. I would pay for this. Make it Warbond only. I would pay for this gladly. Put like 2 of these in a pack and put a proper cart that can hold some other that can hold your props. This is the kind of stuff content creators would go bananas for. It's something silly and small, but we would love this type of stuff. They can cast a light. You can even set it so players can only have 1 or 2 active or something at a time, maybe 1 or something, just to kind of see how it goes. So, but anyway, I don't know if it works that way. I don't know if they're real-time lights or not, so I can dream though. Let's take a look at this haul. Well, I see this character rapidly desyncing. That's pretty cool. I chose to fill it with water. I'm kind of been walking at a fast clip. My attitude is I really just want to see everything I can. And clearly I'm not seeing this map because it's extremely blurry. Oh, there we go. So this is the Hornet room. The MK2 Hornet's basically the only thing I'm really interested in, I guess. In this room. Then the F8 Lightning is in the other room. Hmm. So this is one of those variants with different loadout and this paint on it. Back then it was called skin, I think. Interesting. There's the Hornet tracker. This is the one with the radar dish slapped on it from the beginning. And the Hornet Ghost. This is the one that used to be jet black with little white dots all over it. I actually thought that was very clever as an actual stealth capability for space. Because if you think about it, the star field in space would be black with little white dots all over it. I guess that's not very practical, though. I don't know if that's actually how it's supposed to be. But this one clearly has like that black coating on it. It looks like it's like RAM material or something like that, radar absorbent material. That's kind of what I think they're trying to go for. At the very least, it's matte paint. Or probably some type of space age polymer on it to give it a little bit more stealth. The biggest thing on this ship is that it has a lower signature with the, I believe, the EM and the IR, so electric and thermal. Because of this cowling that they hide in the back here, absorbs a dead center top. You can see the little vents for it. Assists with building up the stealth and absorbing everything. And then also the weapon loadout is brought down. So if you are interested in these Hornets, I mean, you can even see it. Look at there's nothing on the chin, for example. Whereas even the tracker, look at all the weapon systems slapped on this. Look at that big old weapon. I think it's a distortion on there. The Hornet tracker is not properly initialized yet because this thing's gonna have like, this is gonna be the smallest like CNC style ship that we know of so far, command and control, because this ship will be able to use its radar to be able to scan out enemy targets and assign them to its group. So the idea is that this thing isn't really supposed to be by itself. It loses that central turret, which that one also does, by the way, but it gains the ability to have longer range scans and be able to feed that information to ships like the Super Hornet, to ships like the F-7A. You know, these are the type of ships that you really want to have on the front lines and make sure they're stocked with the information they need. It is cool to see the variants, though. It is also interesting. I did not expect them to put the Wildfire up as a free rental. That's pretty dang nice, especially for somebody who's a Hornet fan. This year, especially the Anvil Day, is actually really special. I think that's something that you don't see every moment. I think this is just a Valkyrie. Yeah, it's just a Valkyrie. You've got the Terrapin, and you've got the F8 Lightning, which I don't think you can get into. Or can you? Can you rent it? Are they trolling us? It's pretty cool. They let you in it now.
Anvil Aerospace. All systems online.
Full disclosure, I tried to hit the spacebar button already. So if you're wondering why I didn't just take off. You can't rent the thing. Clearly the screens aren't MFD'd up yet, and
Get down.
multi-functions don't really work well. This is pretty cool, though. Sorry for the cross chatter. I'm in a conflict right now. And Keda's talking to his cat. I am now recording this in the morning, so basically, as I understand it, Anvil's sale will be over in just a few minutes. So I'm going to try to focus on things that are going to be available. I believe the Spartan is going to be available both in the regular and the Warbond configuration for a while. I think that these other ships, though, will not be, except for one package, and I'll show you that. But the Carrack will be available through a method that I'll show you here. So the Anvil Gear Pack will probably be relocated. Today is going to be RSI Day, so the 20th is going to be RSI Day. So that if you want that shirt, pick it up now. Or pick up the entire pack with all the shirts. As a reminder, these shirts are available in game, but once there is a persistence reset like 315, you lose access to the shirts until the next event, or until the next Fleet Week, or the a yearly sale. So this right here is the exploration pack. This is one of the methods I think is going to stay for a little while. And if you look here, you've got the Pisces, the Cyclone, RN, which is the like scout racing beacon dropping one. Not racing, but it's fast. Terrapin, which is a ship that's really undervalued right now due to its scanning is not really in properly yet. The Dragonfly Black, the Flying Motorcycle, and the DUR, the Freelancer. So the DUR is a nice little money maker, and it was something you can send off. It cannot fit inside the hangar. Most of these can't. The Dragonfly probably could, and obviously the Pisces. And one of the things that's kind of a little weird thing about this is the Carrack used to come with the Pisces as a package, and it's kind of a little bit of a weird thing. Anyway, this price is high, but it does include the LTI. And it includes a few other nice little things. Don't look at the name reservations. Everybody gets that. But look at the other things. It comes like basically this is the game package in here too. So you would not need anything else whatsoever. Do note that that the Carrack is facing stiff competition on the Misc Day, which is going to be coming towards the end of this game, the end of this event, where there's a ship that is about the same size as the Carrack that is more built towards mining, support, and exploration, whereas the Carrack is more military activities and exploration. Both are able to do incredible things. These are scanning arrays right here. Here's its hangar, but they do them in different ways. So I was hoping that they would do a little more information on the new Misc ship. However, so far they've really been pushing the Spartan due to Anvil Day, I suspect. And so I talked a little bit already about the Spartan. Heck, I went to the showroom floor to show it off. I'm going to drive it around in a future video. But for now, just know that this vehicle is exactly what it says on the tin. Seats 8 comfortably, although you can squeeze some more in the middle of it safely, and then one driver. The remote turret is the dual gun from the Ballista. As far as I can tell, the driver is the only one who can operate it. The back seats I'll have to check again, but I didn't see a station where like they could just jump on it. So that means that the driver has to basically operate this and also to operate the vehicle. So it's highly defensive in nature. They gave it more speed than if you were running. The developer said if you could just route run it, you might as well just walk. So it's very fast for what it is. These ladders are not usable, but later on more people can pile up on top of this. But you would have to have very strict friend or foe rules on this gun use. Basically, I would stop using it about halfway on the sides, so you don't accidentally hit your own teammates on the back of the vehicle, which is where this thing can't really hit anyway at close range. But that's just a lot of things I have perspective on about it. Some of the I mentioned before, but the Liberator hand built for having at least 2 of these. I would honestly say 3 or 4. Could probably squeeze into that hangar, the first floor area that's closed. Um, and then one more as well on the extra small pad on the front if you really wanted to. If you forgo to Pisces or something else, come to think of it. Obviously, be sitting outside the whole ride though. So just keep all that in mind, that this vehicle is built for that type of environment, and I think it would mix well with Ballista. If you're going to operate outposts, I think parts and knowing how these vehicles work inside and out is going to be very critical. This thing has a lot of storage space. It has 100,000 micro SCUs, and it's not like an incredible amount of storage space, but it's something that's really worth mentioning, especially if you're in a small group of like 1 or 2 people. You know, there's only so much backpack space you have. There's only so much gear you have, and don't discount the fact that you can get in and out of this. And basically, if there's a big snowstorm or a windstorm or wherever you're operating, whatever the poor conditions are, you can hop in this. Another thing is, if you see a player flying by, you can hop into this, and their little strafing run with an Aurora or something like that hopefully won't be able to take this thing down. So if they're just trolling around and they're just messing around, they'll wander away again. So that's another thought I had, was if you're on the side of a planet and you're doing a large mining operation or something else, this could be used as like an emergency. Get me some safety. Get me some armor and shielding between me and whatever is out there. And then you even have a little turret to really let people know, hey, get out of here. So I could see a small group. These things are gonna be very handy for those type of operations, more so than the Ballista. However, as I mentioned on the showroom floor, the Ballista has an obvious benefit. It brings an entire the equivalent of an AA turret along with it, with the missile systems it has. I would also mention it does have more obligations, because you need to have the missile reloads available. But I could definitely see a base that has maybe 1 or 2 of these, and a Ballista and a Nova. So some nice combination of things. And to be brutally honest, the Nova is probably going to catch in dust most of the time. But then once in a blue moon, when you have players and try to attack, or even NPCs, it would be nice to have that tank to be able to take down vehicles like this. Unless the Ballista itself can do the job reliably. Can a Ballista hit this thing while it's on the move, zipping along towards your base? If that's the case, then I have a hard time recommending the Nova, except for very specialist work, like an M2 hot dropping or something in the middle of a base and dropping the Novas off. Because that's my thought, is if I can take out the Nova from, or at least disable it, get a mobility kill on it to slow the situation down so my team has more time, from very long range away with a Ballista, with those missiles that can go out and out and out, then what is the point of the Nova? You know, like, that's the thing, is like, I could see it as a hot drop assistant thing, for very gutsy moves that are very risky and may go completely wrong. Or if it's in dense foliage or something like that, an area where there is not a lot of distance. So I don't know. I think the situations are going to have to present themselves. It's never a bad idea to have a big cannon strapped to the top of a vehicle, but the Nova does seat technically a few people, but the Nova requires a few people to successfully run it. So I look at it as the Ballista even could be 1 person technically. If you don't need to move around, and you're just using it as a missile pad, basically, along artillery assistance, indirect fire assistance. No, it's not indirect fire yet, but it is able to fire as like an assist, as like a pad that like supports other positions, of course. I see that thing as being able to roll out, and now you've got AA. Until you have the time to build proper AA turrets and really just slap them down, and when you're building and such. But the Ballistas will hold the position, whereas the Novas are kind of just not going to be able to do that, except against ground vehicles, which is a very limited thing, like one of these. So we're coming full circle here. You've got troop transportation and troop protection. That's like one corner of this topic. Then you have these anti-ground vehicles like the Nova. Like, I mean, just purest anti-ground vehicle. The Cyclone MT comes to mind as well, by the way. It's like, it's really geared towards taking down ground vehicles. And most of the Cyclones are like that, except for the Cyclone AA that has the proper missile tech that can lock on, fire, has a mini EMP that really doesn't work right. But the idea is that it will be pretty powerful against ships. The Cyclone MT, technically, I think the missiles could be fired at ships, but I don't see it as like as geared, specialized. It's more towards that the cannon that happens to have some missiles attached to it than anything. And it's high speed, low drag too. So I mean, even the smallest ship with size 1s or size 2s pecks at that Cyclone MT. It's going down. Whereas the Ballista has a bit of shielding, has a bit of armor. It's a big vehicle. It's a big target, but it has all big missiles too. Don't forget, real missiles. So I don't know. I see it as kind of like almost a combat triangle starting to form, because if this thing gets on top of you, and it's got 8 players inside plus the driver, it's 9. That's just the legit ones. That's not talking about people just standing around and falling around and stuff every time you take a turn. I guess they go prone. And the guys on top, they're gonna bring railguns, Scourge railguns. They're gonna bring laser trip mines when those come out. They're gonna have different types of gear. Probably real mines very, very soon. Whatever you're in, you're not gonna want to have a pile of people crawling around you. So, yeah, it's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm still kind of like formulating in my head where this fits, but I'm glad to see more from the Atlas platform. I think it's pretty cool that it has a scanner and radio communications things and stuff. I'm sure some of that's really cool, but at the same time, I really think this vehicle is going to be underrated. I think people we expected it for a while now, but I still think that the average player base who hasn't heard much about these developments will be surprised that this is coming out and go, didn't we already have an Ursa rover as the APC? You know, and then you take a look at the cannon on top of an Ursa rover and you realize this thing's small, and you realize the Ursa rover itself is very small, not, you know, able to fit an entire squad of folks comfortably, which this can obviously do. So I don't know. I think it's in a good spot. I took a look around at the options, and I thought the ROC to Warbond Spartan wasn't a bad option. I think it's like 15. But other than that, I didn't really have much time to take a look at different ones. I think this will be up for a while. Do not be wooed by the limited stock or sale or something that it says. They want people to pick these up, I think. And this will be available past Anvil Day, which is going to end very soon. Heck, by the time you're hearing this, it's probably already RSI Day, and you're going, why is he talking about Anvil? That's why I'm kind of focusing so much on the Spartan. I think the video did a good job of explaining this type of stuff, so I'll include the link below to the video. I'm not going to bore you with the highlights. There's not too much highlight-wise to talk about that we haven't already talked about. Alright, so this is my belated Anvil Day situation. Unfortunately, I had to work through almost all of Anvil Day, so that's the breaks. Now, if I take a look very quickly at the pledge store, and I go to extras, as a reminder, when you click extras, especially the all section, you know, you can hit extras and it'll take you to all. You can sort by price, and you can see all the different stuff available. And I would say that if these are still available, sometimes the concierge have longer term access to different things. I would say that the Liberator is in a very weak spot right now. It's an awesome ship, don't get me wrong, but I think it's a little outdated for what it does, unless you're a specialist, unless you are if you identify yourself as we're a PMC, a private military company that does contract work and fights every day, unless you're saying that and you find yourself saying that, I wouldn't recommend a pack that focuses so much on the Liberator. let's focus on the credit one too, because to be fair, that's what people, if you're spending that kind of, that's what people are spending. They're not spending that war bond for especially a pack like this. But Ballista, Crucible, Super Hornet, Gladiator, Terrapin, Spartan, Liberator. So the Liberator is really nice, but for this price point, I mean, I really don't see much. Carrick's nice. You know, you got the LTI. The Crucible is a nice wild card. I think that's going to go up a little bit. A lot of these smaller ships just feel like they're kind of... You would pick up one or two of these in normal terms. You know, you would pick up one or two of these. Like, all of these are not bad ships. Let me just clarify. But like, somebody who says, I want to have a bit of a mix of fun play right now, we get a Super Hornet and a Gladiator and call it a day. And then these other ships like the Liberator and like the Carrick, these are more longer term ships. Even if they're available in game, you only use them once in a while when you have a group. So, I mean, you can run a Carrick solo. I'm sure somebody will pipe up and say that, but not really. You can't really defend the poor thing. And in this day and age, with the Ares and with the Redeemers running around, you're going to want at least two people running back and forth with your turrets, and that's a bad idea. But still, it's there, and I think they're going to do some work on the Carrick in the future. For starters, drone bay doesn't work. Its food prep areas don't work, so the Carrick is more of a long-term thing. It is in game though, and it has full medical, regen and all. So you know, on tier 2 bed, so that's pretty nice. But just consider it a long-term thing, that it'll be set up. These packs were here before the heavy lifters packs, the C2, M2, A2, bunch of Nova tanks, like 2 of them, LTI. I have no comments. I mean, if you need all 3, there you go. But I think you should just pick one. Pick the C2 or the M2 and be done with it. A2 if you're a PMC. And even then, do some serious soul searching, because, you know, oh, here's it without the Novas. But once again, if you're a PMC, great. If you're not, here you go. Don't forget, you can buy tanks, you can buy Ballista, you can even buy the new Spartan in-game eventually. So, bear that in mind. Do some serious soul searching before you make a move. Here's the IAE. As a reminder, the IAE insurance is plus 10 years. So do bear that in mind, that you get 10 years out of it. It's pretty good. And that's not from now. That's from after alpha's done, after beta's done, and full release 1.0 is in. That is when you will see the 10 years start ticking down, which is downright incredible. But yeah, sorry if you're seeing this and you wanted these type of ships, they will not be available at this time. Usually at the end of the show, by the way, hint hint, they have most of these ships again one more time for sale. But yeah, this is right now what we're seeing. If we go into the ship upgrade section, you can see usually there's 2 options available. This gives you a hint that they have war bonds available. Here, like I mentioned, the Spartan had that war bond, and here's the Carrick one, for example. So it's a little bit less. And yeah, don't be dissuaded by this. It's a both have the 120. If it's sold with the IAE tag next to it, it's got the 120 month insurance, the 10-year insurance. But here you go with the Warbond. The A2 actually has a decent chunk under it for the Warbond variant. And don't forget, you can trade these from any ship. So let's say I picked that Warbond variant, even though it doesn't show I did. And we pick something very close to it. I don't know why you would do this, but let's say the regular Carrick with the CAX. And there you go for the Warbond variant. I think you'd stick the Carrick, you keep the Carrick, but there you go. You can do things like that with these 2 option available ships. So Liberator, obviously, the Warbond variant's gone. It is not, did not come back with that. Man, the Pioneer went up again. Wow. I wonder if they're going to be talking about a bit more about Outpost soon. Because that's still a ship that's not flyable. That's still a ship that there's no outpost in. I think it's a few patches from now they're even talking about the start of that. NPC outposts are coming soon-ish. Not even player outposts. So I'm curious exactly why that went up. But hey, I know they talk about like it's a combination of factors, availability and materials and value it's going to bring to you, but jeez. Okay, so that'll do it for today. I guess I'll go through the merchandise real fast too. I got no opinion on these mouse pads. They have a cool logo. There's the older one right there. I know they're trying to slash some of these prices for subscribers. I don't think it's everything, but they were like saying like up to 50-60%. I think they sent the email to me. So that's probably my last subscriber email for a few. I don't think I'm going to use, you can use store credit to pick up subscription, but I think I'm going to let my subscription lapse for a little bit. And then I'll pick it back up, obviously, but it's like 3 backpacks in one. That's interesting. This is an older one. I had mixed reviews on those. Some people love them, some people just are okay about them. And there's the books. I don't know. These were worn by Jared in Star Citizen live last week, I think. I have no idea. That I like. I like in-game items that are going to be available out of game. I think that's really cool. I really want one of those, but I'm going to behave. The pins are always cool. I like the patches more than the pins, but I think if you've already started your collection either way, you know exactly what you need. These tin signs are pretty cool. Hope they're magnetic, so you can put them on your wall real easy. You can use some like 3M magnetic tape and use them. They're pretty trendy right now. There's a sticker set. I don't know. I don't know anything about stickers. Drake Cutlass schematic is pretty cool. And here's one of the most polarizing topics in here, but I'll get through these other ones. This is a nice little set for drinking. This here is the Chairman's Club collector's drink set. It's already sold out, but I think it keeps coming back every now and then. They have a few at a time they keep putting up. And this is very cool, I would say, for Chairman's. This is concierge, folks, by the way. If you're wondering, like, how come I can't see it? Those stainless steel ice cubes, you put them in the freezer, and you're meant to put them in your drink so they don't water down your drink over time, but give it cold, chill it. And I would love those stone things, those stone cup things, if they sold them on their own. Those are pretty cool. Like a pair of those would be neat for the desk. But that whole set, I just cannot justify. But it is cool. I like that it comes with the box too, but that's not for me. The shaker, I don't know why they're doing that. That's weird. And then the mugs. Stuff you can actually use at work. For example, on these, or bring a drink in there. I like the idea of stuff that I'll actually use. I'm not a big fan of this jacket. They should have put something else besides the Star Citizen logo on the back. Like the UE, like maybe put UEE advocacy or something. Like, oh, it's a low profile, thing. Or put something else there. Anything. Put the logo of one of the pirate agencies. I don't know. But yeah, something clever and fun. Something that other backers would recognize and think was pretty cool. But yeah, that's just my opinion. Looks like they have a newer style hat here. That's that Chairman's Club's hat been there forever. Same with the polo shirts. This is all older stuff. I recognize these from before, so I'm going to skip those. That's been before. Still very relevant, by the way. That came in with Orison. But then there's UE Navy stuff. Been there before. They even have Mantis shirts still. Oh, I don't know if I've ever seen the blanket. That's pretty cool. But yeah, and then the infamous socks. There is supposed to be a programming error, I think, on these. I don't know if they've ever updated it. So, which is kind of funny. That if they, by the way, socks is streaming object container, streaming object container system, I think. I probably butchered that last part. But I still remember when they pushed that and how much hype there was. And it was supposed to be the first version of what we talk about persistence and server meshing tech, and that's changed 50 different times since. But yeah, it's pretty cool. So yeah, if you're interested in merch, keep in mind that if you go to pick it up, it is not allow for store credit. Doesn't allow for store credit, and it's probably like there's probably a decent fee for shipping. It is not free, so bear that in mind. I think the best way to do that is like bundle a couple things together, and then the shipping might be worth it, depending on where you're from. So bear that in mind. In the U.S., I think it's like 10 USD or so for the shipping. Keep that in mind. I don't know about other countries because I can't like test that. So, let me know what you think about the first intro to IAE. I think that this year's IAE 2951 is really special. I really can't stress enough how much I like the Jax McCleary content, and I think it really adds some flavor and some dimension to the event. And I like that this year they snuck in a story. Like, he's not just Jax McCleary, discount that guy from TV. He's also a full-bodied person. Like, they're building him into a character that has a backstory and has other people involved too that are also developing, which is pretty neat. So I can't wait to see more from him, and can't wait to see if there's any surprises this week. We've already talked about that, Misc Day is going to be big. We've already talked about that there's a big Argo Day coming for the freight vehicle that handles cargo containers and has internal cargo as well. And being able to manipulate cargo is very important for the hull C, D, and E, which are coming are each coming in their own right, but the C's coming very soon, so it's got to be sorted out. So thing can't even land when it's fully laden with cargo, unless it goes to the huge ports and such, which is not acceptable. It needs to be able to go to smaller places. So let's enjoy this. Let's appreciate it. I've already ran into a couple folks in the game, and also not surprising to me, but every time I see them, it kind of entertains me that I've run into other YouTubers on the showroom floor, out flying around vehicles and driving vehicles and testing them at the same place. That was pretty cool. Yeah, so this is a pretty fun event, and I think I need a coffee, and yeah. All right, well, have a good one. Fly safe, everybody. Hope to see you on the floor.